Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis, and it's time for another edition of What the Fugue, where I talk about what's going on with me in my week of comics. How's it going, everybody? Did you miss me? Don't know. I missed you. That's why I'm here. Get back into the swing of things as far as doing some videos and talking about comic books and whatnot. Kind of missed out the last couple weeks on quite a bit of stuff, so trying to make up some lost time. So just been kind of busy taking care of other business and whatnot. So all kinds of stuff to talk about. What do I want to talk about first? Let's Captain America, Winter Soldier. Let's start with that first. Why not? Went and saw that movie. Really enjoyed it. Probably the best Marvel movie, I want to say, that I've watched so far. I liked it better than the Avengers. It had some great action in it. It had some actual plot and some thought going on in it. Interesting characters. It was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. Went and saw it with the kids. That was cool. Which kind of leads me to DC. Come on, DC. You need to be doing something here at some point. Your TV shows are okay, but man, bar's getting set higher and higher all the time. Put out some good DC movies. Anyway, speaking of DC, let's talk about DC, because I'm kind of disgusted with DC right now. And this is why I'm disgusted with DC. And you can let me know, whether or not you think I'm way off base or I'm crazy or, whatever. I'm not really pleased with most of the DC books right now. And this is why. I've had some discussion with some, other people, Eric from Longbox Review and some other people about this. And the thing I'm not liking is they're just continuously trying to ratchet it up a notch. Just, there's one crazy thing happens, and then the next crazy thing happens, and the next crazy thing happens, and the next crazy thing happens. And there's no time for anything to simmer. There's no time for a slow build. There's no time for the quiet moments in between on most of these books to then have the impactful things matter. It feels like most of these books, the writers and the creators are just being challenged to one-ups themselves. And not one-ups themselves in, this was a good book, let's make a better book, let's try and make each book a better book, so much as what can we do that's the next extreme, the next big, the next oh my gosh moment for them to have. Because that's all they want to have. It seems like DC editorial, that's all they're interested in right now, is just the next big great moment. There's no, like I said, I'm not talking about stretching a story out longer than it needs to, but there needs to be time in between where not the intense crazy things are happening. And you'll say, Travis, Batman's always intense. Come on, he's in Gotham, blah, 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 blah. That he's always, it should always be this, because there's just, if it's not one, crazy mastermind criminal, it's another, and it's a constant struggle, and it should always be that. And I disagree. I think that Batman and Robin, or Batman and, as it is now, is a really good book. And one of the reasons it's a really good book is you have quiet moments to let things sink in, to think about things, to absorb what's going on around you, to understand what the story's trying to tell us before the next big thing happens, or the next shoe drops, or whatever in it. That makes those other moments more impactful. If it's just go, 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 after a while it just becomes fatiguing. I don't know. It's not enjoyable. And I know somebody's going to say, oh, you're old school DC guy, you don't like the New 52. That's wrong. Love the New 52. I think the New 52 has done wonders for DC as a whole. Introduced titles that I don't think we would have saw otherwise, and things like that, and that's great. But I do think that they need to readdress their editorial mandate on action, their editorial mandate on marriage, their editorial mandate on who they think their target audience is, and some of those things. They need to look at the longevity of the company, the longevity of the characters, the longevity of the craft. Because right now it feels like a wholesale fire sale on everything, and let's burn it all down because, you know, we can reboot it or whatever at some other point maybe, or let's just burn it all down let's be Nero and play our fiddle as Rome burns because we're going to collect our money now because God knows what happens in the future. Well, yeah, I guess if that seemingly is the attitude you're going to have, you aren't going to have a future. And there's no reason that these people, you know, and these companies and these characters couldn't have an amazing future. There are brilliant people working in comics right now. Brilliant people working in comics right now. Give them a chance to be brilliant. Give them a chance to tell the stories they want to tell. Give them a chance to tell them the fashion they want to tell them. You know, I understand editors are there in these big companies for a reason. It's not to fix typos and stuff like that. It's to keep the corporate mandate going. But it feels to me more and more like that corporate mandate is unhealthy. And it's DC. Not that Marvel doesn't have some of that too, but it feels like they're allowing in some of the Marvel books I'm reading anyway, and granted I'm reading more of the fringe books, but they're giving them a chance to tell a story in a fashion that they want to tell it. You know, to let it simmer, to let it, you know, let it percolate before we have these, you know, exciting moments or terrible moments or whatever that we want to have impact us as readers. You know, I guess there's some books that we could question whether or not that's almost a fault they're allowing that to happen. But at least they're allowing it to happen. And this is coming from me. I'm a DC guy. I like the DC characters. I like the DC universe. It's my favorite. As far as superheroes go, I really enjoy it the most. But right now, most of the books are fatiguing and are just a constant static of noise with no real punctuation. The punctuations are gone because of the high intensity that it's been ratcheted up to. You know, there are exceptions. There are books that are put out by DC that I really love that don't feel that way to me. They have quiet moments. Then they can have those other moments, but it's not, as a whole, they're not having it. And it's bumming me out. It's making me just not real excited about a lot of the stuff that's going on. And speaking of stuff that's going on with DC, of course, we know they've canceled some books. Well, they've already announced some relaunchings, and they're relaunching titles that they just canceled. They're just renumbering them, giving them number ones. So they're kind of taking a piece from the Marvel world, even though, you know, a year and a half or so ago, Bob Harris and they were saying no, they were never going to do that. They weren't going to just, you know, relaunch with new creative teams or whatever and start the number one over again. But obviously, the draw of the number one has sales. Rekindles interest, and it seems to. They're relaunching Suicide Squad with a new number one, and I've seen more people talking about Suicide Squad in the last week or so than I have in the last 3 or 4 months. So I guess that's good for the book. I'll probably be checking that out. I've enjoyed Suicide Squad up to this point when I got back on the book, so I'll probably check it out. Another title that they're relaunching is Teen Titans. I don't know if you've seen the cover to that the new Teen Titans thing. It's caused quite a stink. A woman who used to be an editor for DC Comics was on Comic Book Resources and wrote an article about how bad of a cover it was and all the reasons she thought it was a bad cover. You know, from an editorial standpoint and from a woman reader standpoint. Just all of the things that were failures about it and where they could have made it better. And of course, that's caused all kinds of stuff. I've been biting my tongue to not really say a whole lot about it. You know, I'm not going to make a video about it. I don't think people need to hear my opinion as a whole on it at any length, other than the fallout from that, the atrocious behavior that male comic book fans have treated this woman is pretty horrific. I mean, to the point of, you know, rape threats and stuff like that, and that is just despicable. I cannot understand how you could possibly have your comic book reading threatened by so much by her commenting the fact that Wonder Girl, a 17-year-old girl, has boobs that are as large as her head and are gravity-defying, how that could threaten you as a male comic book reader to the point to where you would have to seek her out and find a way to send her threatening stuff that you're going to rape her over it is pretty diabolical. It makes me not want to be a comic book fan. It makes me embarrassed to be a male comic book reader. I certainly know that I don't behave that way or condone it, but it's still just, it's disgusting. And really unfortunate, and you know, anybody who knows me and has watched my videos in the past, I've made those videos, you know, what, 4 or 5 months ago, you know, I put out a video commenting about how we should be treating female members of the comic book YouTube community, that they should be treated just like, you know, any other guy is treated in the community, that the conversations and whatnot, that's what it should be about, and not about, you know, how hot they are, or, you know, all that, the whole sundry of stuff, or challenging them solely because they're women, that somehow that means that they don't have the same level of credit or the same knowledge or anything that has to do with comic books and what we celebrate in geek culture. I put that video on. To this day, I am still getting messages from people who make fake accounts to send me messages to say nasty things to me for having made that video. So there's some pretty, I don't know, diabolical and despicable people out there, unfortunately, in our fandom. I think I know lots of people who are awesome, who are great people, who don't condone that, who don't act that way, and I appreciate those people a whole lot. I appreciate you women readers out there who somehow have the strength and the stamina to survive the deluge of all spectrum of crap that you have to put up with, the base male comic book culture collector, whatever that is. You know, part of me sometimes thinks that those despicable people are the minority, and other times it feels like they're the majority. So, at any rate, thank you for sticking it out, you ladies that do. Really appreciate it. Where else do I want to go? Speaking of comic book community, everybody's been making a video, and I've debated on whether I was going to make one or not make one, or whatever. I'm going to make one because I don't want it to be perceived that I don't care, because I do. You know, a while ago, Scott, Constant Romstar, excuse me, put out a video kind of letting us know where he was at, and, you know, he's got some health stuff going on, and so he's kind of taken a hiatus from a lot of the YouTube stuff. He's not gone, but just, you know, has some other priorities and whatnot, and good for him. You know, make the priorities count, do the things that make you happy. You know, life's too short for anything beyond that, really. So, you know, pursue those things, you know, pursue what makes you happy and healthy. That's the important thing. And I just want to give my shout out too, that, you know, to Scott. I think Scott knows, from me anyway, I hope, knows how important of a person he is, and how much he is the life of the YouTube party, and how fun it is to talk comics with him on any level, whether that be you know, really seriously talking about the mechanics of the comic, or just you know, shooting the breeze and laughing about how ridiculous we think Rob Liefeld is, or you know, or whatever else that's out there. You know, he's just a great guy. He's really supportive. He's always been awesome to me. You know, even when he's ribbing me about doing my my poetry readings, you know, he's just a lot of fun and a really cool guy. And, you know, I hope him the best. I hope we hear from him again publicly. I hope, you know, his health and his situation gets good enough that he can come back and talk comics. And, you know, I still hope to have him back on the round table at some point. You know, it really was his show. I mean, I don't think I stole it. I've just been kind of carrying the torch until somebody else wants to carry the torch. Speaking of comic book roundtable, wasn't a comic book roundtable last week because it ultimately was coming down to it's going to be a roundtable of just me. And my day got busy enough that I felt like If it was going to be just me, I didn't need to rush to read my comic books, so I didn't, so there wasn't one. There will be a comic book roundtable this Friday, even if it is just me by myself talking about books. There will be a comic book roundtable. So tune in for that on Friday if you'd like, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern Time. The week after that, there will be no comic book roundtable. I am going to be, I believe, away from my computer that entire week. I won't have any Monster Comics reviews. I won't have any no capes. That whole week will just be me being really quiet. I'll probably watch some videos. I can do that from my phone because, like I said, I'm away from my computer. I don't know that I'm going to have access to another computer otherwise. And I'm kind of taking a vacation. I don't know if I'll take my camera with me because I don't know how much comic book oriented stuff I would be doing that would be of any interest. So yeah, so that week there won't be, don't believe there will be anything. I mean, there might be. There's always a possibility. And there could be a surprise video in there that I shoot with my phone or something. I don't know. Kind of play that by ear and see how that goes. I am looking forward to that vacation though. So yeah. What else? I think that is it. I think I've talked enough no cape type stuff. Yeah. Anyway, have a great one, everybody, and I will see you in 2 weeks with another What the Fugue, I'm sure, and later on in the week for a comic book roundtable, and I'll probably squeeze in a Monster Comics review and a no capes from books for last week, since I didn't talk about those books at all. Anyway, have a great one, everybody.